Hello friends. So today we'll see the topic that is phase equilibrium. Under that VLE calculation, that is very important aspect in chemical engineering. That part we'll see today. So this is covered in unit number 5 of chemical engineering thermodynamics syllabus. So to start with phase equilibrium. So phase equilibrium, I think in solution thermodynamics we have seen what is this phase equilibrium, right? So we have seen chemical potential of ith species that will be same, right, in different phases. So then you can say there is a phase equilibrium, or you can say fugacity coefficient of ith species in solution. So that will be same in different phases. So that you can consider as a phase equilibrium, right? So if you see different phases, one is you can say distillation, then or sorry, in different phases, that will, you can say, liquid, gas, solid, right? So if you come across with gas liquid operation, so you will find distillation as well as absorption. These are the two applications that you will get from gas liquid operation, right? So that there we require vapor liquid equilibrium. So vapor and liquid, these are the two phases that we are considering. Then extraction, if you see the application of this phase equilibrium in extraction, so there are two liquid phases. So that is liquid liquid extraction, or if it is solid liquid extraction, then solid phase will be there and liquid phase will be there. So this is what you can say. These are the applications. You can find its application in mass transfer generally. So distillation, absorption, extraction, right? So it brings phases of different composition into contact, right? Because there is a direct contact between these phases, right? Maybe vapor liquid or liquid liquid or solid liquid. So these operations are direct contact here, and then mass transfer takes place, right? So here, no doubt, equilibrium, once equilibrium is reached, thereafter mass transfer will not be possible, right? So both the extent of change and the rate of transfer depends on the departure of the system from equilibrium, right? So when you are away from equilibrium, then there is a change, right? There is a transfer, right? But if you are close to equilibrium, right, transfer is limited there, right? And if it is at equilibrium, no net transfer of mass or moles takes place. So quantitative treatment of mass transfer, the equilibrium, temperature and pressure, and phase composition. So that is required. That should be known if you want to study or if you want to discuss this quantitative treatment of mass transfer. Then nature of equilibrium, if you see, right? So here a static condition in which no change occur in macroscopic properties of the system with time. So that is what we have. That is only a static condition at macroscopic level, macroscopic, right? So therefore you can say at equilibrium, why this no change we are getting with respect to time, why you are getting static condition? Because at equilibrium all potentials that may cause change are exactly balanced, right? So that means chemical potential, that is, for example, of ith species in different phases, that is constant, that is balance, right? So therefore there is no such driving force in the system here, right? So there is no driving force. So in this case, you can say here no driving force here, right? For any change, right? That means suppose if you want to transfer heat from one body to another body, if temperature of both the body is same, there is no net transfer of energy from any of this body, right? But at microscopic level, the conditions are not static, because molecule tends to move from one phase to another phase, or from another phase to previous phase. This is possible here, right? So in both the direction there is a transfer of molecule, but if you see net transfer, interface transfer, so that is equal to 0 here at microscopic level. So that's why at macroscopic level you will find this is static condition. Then if you see this, you can say for isolated system here consisting of liquid and vapor phases in intimate contact eventually reaches a final state wherein no tendency exists for change to occur in the system. That means if you have isolated system, isolated, that means it is closed container, right? No change, that means no transfer of energy, no transfer of mass, right? So in this case, if you put two phases here, right, what happens if you keep this for longer duration, you will find there is a static condition is reached, right? And you can say there is no net transfer of mass from either of these phases, right? Temperature, pressure, here it is fixed phase, and then finally once you can say equilibrium is reached, your phase compositions are also same, that will not change with respect to time. So that's why you are saying static condition is now remember that is, you can say, nature of playing very important role in this phase equilibrium. Started from I think that is triple point for water, and we have seen PT diagram, PV diagram, right, previously, and there also we have explained this phase rule. So what is this phase rule? So number of variables that is independently fixed in a system at equilibrium. Remember, this is very important, right? So how it is derived? The simple equation here, it is number of variables that characterizes the intensive state of system minus number of independent equations connecting the variables. So this is very simple. So degrees of freedom, right? So your left hand side, that this is nothing but your degrees of freedom, that is equal to number of variables minus number of equations, right? So for phase rule you will get this particular equation. In unit number 1 already we have seen the derivation of this, right? So your f is equal to 2 minus pi plus n. Pi is number of phases, n is number of components. But one more thing, that is Duhem theorem. It is less celebrated, right? Many times phase rule is generally people are using, but Duhem theorem, here we have added some extensive properties, right? What are these two? So for any closed system formed initially from given masses of prescribed chemical species, at equilibrium state it is completely determined when any two independent variables are fixed. Because what are these two variables? That means when phase rule defines f is equal to 1, at least one of two variable must be extensive, right? And when f is equal to 0, both must be extensive. That means two variables we are considering here, these are extensive variables. So that's why this 2 you are getting here in Duhem theorem. I think in unit number 1 also we have discussed this up to certain extent, right? So this is very important here. So two variables must be fixed here, right? And if you keep those constant, then I think that will define your Duhem theorem or Duhem rule. See this previous diagram, this diagram here, right? So you will find that means suppose pressure is increased, that means when pressure is increased, here above this curve, right, you will find vapor, that means liquid, subcooled liquid, right? That means this liquid is well below its boiling point at high pressure. And if you are below this here, you will find this is superheated vapor, because this vapor is that means that particular corresponding pressure what we have, at that particular corresponding pressure your vapor pressure will be very less, boiling point will be very less, right? So that's why at given temperature, this given temperature is no doubt it is higher than its boiling point, right? its boiling point. So that's why you can say it is superheated vapor. So that is what we have. This is a very important case here. So if you construct pxy diagram, right, pressure versus xy diagram, that should be at constant temperature. And if you constructing txy diagram, that means t versus x and t versus y diagram, that should be at constant you can say pressure, right? And if you see pt diagram, already we have seen this in unit number 1, pt and pv diagram. So generally this is at constant composition. Okay, so again here one important thing, uh, positive deviation and negative deviation, these are the two important aspect here, right? Suppose suppose if you consider pressure versus x1 y1 diagram, right? And generally this is your ideal, dotted line is ideal, right? So here we are considering, that means this is ideal pressure, that means this value is, suppose if I draw a vertical line here, so this is the pressure given by ideal condition, but actual condition gives this different pressure here, right? This different pressure. So that's why it is quite less than the defined by ideal. That's why it is negative deviation here, right? This is negative deviation. And when the case, that means suppose this is dotted line, and if pressure is higher than the defined by ideal, this is ideal here, but actual pressure is quite higher here, right? So that's why this is, you can say, positive deviation, right? And whenever you are getting positive deviation, that will lead to you can say uh, minimum boiling point azeotrope, and negative deviation will lead to that is you can say maximum boiling point azeotrope, right? So if you see this negative deviation, that means total pressure is less, right? It is less. That means if you see txy diagram is exactly opposite of this, right? That means you will get something this type of nature here, right? This type of nature, right? So this is, you can say, highest boiling point here as a drop, right? Similarly this is positive, so your txy diagram will be exactly opposite of this, so it is minimum boiling as a drop. Because remember, this is very important. Nowadays people are talking about residue curve map, right? And when you are talking about residue curve map, so this is very important. Residue curve map generally, you can say, defines the composition of residue, right? That is track. And nowadays for complex system such as reactive distillation and others, people are using you can say this residue curve map concept for designing the configuration, designing the, you can say, distillation train, right? Deciding the streams from where those are originating, where they are going, right? So this is again very important. That's why this part is very important as far as, you can say, mass transfer operation is considered. As earlier said, this is txy diagram, right? I'm saying this is exactly opposite of what you can say pxy diagram. Not exactly, but you can say nature will be opposite here, right? So here t versus x1 y1, this is t versus y1, because here superheated vapor you will get, here subcooled liquid you will get, right? This is bubble point and this is, you can say, dew point, sorry, this is bubble point and this is dew point curve, right? And this part is nothing but azeotrope, because here composition is same, x1 is equal to y1. So this is defined by for different conditions here, right? These are the, suppose if I consider d is for ethanol and toluene, so that forms azeotrope at this particular temperature, right? At this particular temperature it will form, and this is the composition. Similarly for others also you can check. From that, suppose if we have pxy or txy diagram, that means y1 versus x1 is always there, right? So y1 versus x1, then what you can say, this is again a data, right? This data, this particular data is used for designing a staircase, or you can say for you, that is used for calculating number of stages, right? At constant pressure. Suppose if you consider this C curve, that is not forming azeotrope, right? and if you see the difference between this diagonal and this curve, it is quite high. So separation will be easier and number of stages required for such cases will be less in a distillation column. But in other case, it forms isotrope here, it forms isotrope here. And suppose if we consider A is something like, again it is not forming isotrope, but distance here it is quite less in the case of A. So you can say for desired separation, number of stages required, that will be more. So that's why, and remember why we are doing this, because we have to define this particular data. That means we have to calculate y1 versus x1 data for given system, right, thermodynamically, and that particular data will be useful in designing of mass transfer processes. So if you see how its VLE calculation can be done, there are two simple models, right? uh, Before that, you can say one, you can say Raoult's law, right, and second one is Henry's law. Raoult's law already we have studied from process calculation, or before that also we have studied. Raoult's law is a combination of ideal gas and ideal solution. Remember, your left hand side is applicable application of Dalton's law, right? So total pressure is equal to mole fraction, sorry, partial pressure is equal to mole fraction into total pressure. So this is for ideal condition, right? Then this is no doubt it is applicable for low or moderate pressure, right? And right hand side here it is ideal solution, because composition into pi saturated vapor pressure, right? So this is again uh, when you can say ideal solution, when the species that are chemically similar, that means isotopes, you can say isomers, right? So benzene, xylene, like that, right? Para ortho position. Okay, so these you can say chemically similar in nature. So you can say size and shape of that particular molecule should be same. Then and then only you can say it is ideal condition, right? So Raoult's law defines ideal gas, ideal solution. That's why you are saying like ideal Raoult's law is applicable for ideal condition, right? And then you can use this Raoult's law for calculation of vapor liquid equilibrium data, right? So here as we have defined, you can say xi is you can say this xi is liquid phase mole fraction, y is vapor phase mole fraction, and pi saturated is vapor pressure of your species, I at temperature of system, right? So product YIP is a partial pressure of species in vapor phase. Remember, partial pressure term is always for vapor phase, right? And then you can say here vapor pressure of pure species I. So that is also there, that is pi saturated. So that can be generally calculated from Einstein equation, right? So that we'll see later. So this is all about, you can say Raoult. Already we have seen bubble P, that means calculation of Yi, right, and temperature given liquid phase composition and temperature. So if we see here, so this is Raoult's law where I is equal to 1 2 up to n, right? And for this case, just apply summation on both the sides. And if you apply summation on both the sides, left hand side, suppose if you apply summation, so p you can take out of this summation, so it will remain as a summation of this p, right, summation of yi, that is equal to summation of xi pi saturated, right? So this you will get here. Okay, so in this case, this summation of yi, that is equal to 1 here. And once you put this one, so P is equal to summation of xi pi saturated, where I is equal to 1 to n for bubble point calculation. And if you apply this particular equation for binary system, that means I is equal to 1 and 2. So that will be very simple. So P is equal to x1 P1 saturated plus x2 P2 saturated, and x2 you can replace as you can say x2 as 1 minus x1. So finally you will get this simple equation, that is P is equal to P2 saturated plus bracket P1 saturated minus P2 saturated bracket complete x1. So here temperature is constant, that's why P1 saturated and P2 saturated, that will be constant here, right? That means your pressure is directly proportional to x1 here, right? So that's why plot of P versus x1 at constant temperature is a straight line connecting P2 saturated at x1 is equal to 0. Suppose if you put x1 is equal to 0, P is equal to P2 saturated you will get, and if you put x1 is equal to 1 here, then P2 saturated will get cancelled, so P equal to P1 saturated. So these are the two lines you will get here. And if you see next dew point calculation, that is dew P here, again same thing. So here some changes we are making because we have to take summation of xi here. So I will put this, you can say xi is equal to, you can say yi p divided by pi saturated, right? Then if you see summation of xi, so this value will be equal to 1, and then here we are applying summation here also we are applying summation, so summation of xi is equal to 1, and here p you can take out of this summation, so here p is equal to, you can say you will get this particular equation, because this summation of yi upon pi saturated can be taken on this side, so it is 1 upon you will get. So here this simple equation you will get. So this equation is applicable for dew point calculation where liquid phase compositions are not known. Vapor phase compositions are known here, not liquid phase composition. So from this vapor phase composition we have to calculate liquid phase compositions, right? So that's why this is second case. This is, you can say, dew P. This is dew P calculation, and previous was bubble P calculation. So in both the cases pressure is calculated, that's why dew P and bubble P. Okay, if you see one simple numerical base on this, one simple problem here, binary system acetonitrile and nitromethane conforms closely to Raoult's law. That means these two components forms defines the ideal condition. Vapor pressures for pure species are given by following Antoine equation. So these are the two Antoine equation. So P1 that is for acetonitrile and P2 is for, you can say, nitromethane. So here what you have to do, prepare a graph of P versus x1 and P versus y1 at 75 degrees Celsius, and prepare a graph temperature versus x1 and temperature versus y1 at total pressure P is equal to 70 kilopascal, which is held constant. So if you see first part here you can use bubble P or dew P, both cases are possible here. So simple, we'll try with bubble P. Then equation already we have derived, P is equal to P2 saturated plus bracket P1 saturated minus P2 saturated into x1. So in this case what is requirement? So P2 saturated and P1 saturated, that we have to calculate. So we have temperature that is 75 degrees Celsius. So in this case we have to substitute temperature values here and here. So these are in degree Celsius, that's why plus sign we are getting here also. But if you get this in degree Kelvin, so negative sign many times you will appear here, right? So here 75 degrees Celsius if you put, then you can get P1 saturated equal to 83.21 and P2 saturated equal to 41.98 kilopascal, right? So that is what it is defined by this Antoine equation. Then these values you can substitute in this particular equation right here, and then this is what we have. Then what you can do, you can just substitute the values of x1. So x1 will be ranging from 0 to 1, any value in between 0 to 1. So 0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 7, 6, right, up to 1 you can go, right? So at different values of x1 you can calculate pressure, right? You will get pressure for different values of x1, and that pressure value again you can substitute here by applying Raoult's law, that is y1 for species 1, right? And because x1 is known, because we have defined that, and P1 saturated we have calculated here, that you can substitute, and P will be for different composition. For different x1, P will be different. So that only you have to substitute, and you will get corresponding values of y1. So once you have this pressure versus y1 versus x1 for different values of x1, those are calculated, then it is quite simple here. With this you can plot simple graph here. Now if you see this P versus x1 y1, now P versus x1 is essentially straight line. See here, it is straight line here, and P versus y1 is curve, right? Now when pressure is higher, here temperature is 75 degrees Celsius. When pressure is high, that means its boiling point is very high, and that boiling point is quite higher than 75 degrees Celsius. That's why this is subcooled liquid here, and this is defined by point A. This is defined by point A. Then as you decrease the pressure, boiling point also gets decreased because it has a direct relation with pressure. So that will decrease the you can say boiling point. One point will come, the boiling point defined by that particular pressure here, and the temperature which we have considered for that particular system, that is kept constant, that is 75, that boiling point and this temperature will be same at that particular point. So this you can say a bubble point, and here formation of vapor will start, and that vapor will have a composition B dash, right? So this will be, you can say, liquid phase composition B dash, right? And this horizontal is nothing but your tie line. Tie line it is considered. Again go further. Here you will get vapor liquid mixture. This is defined by vapor, this is defined by liquid, that is, this is x1, this will be y1. Again if you decrease the pressure, one point will come, that you can say pressure, right? So this pressure and temperature here, that means here complete vaporization is there, but if you increase the pressure slightly, it is ready to condense, and that condensate will have a composition, that is liquid phase composition, like this, right? So this is, you can say, dew point here, because at this particular point complete vapor you will be there, right? But it is not superheated vapor, it is saturated vapor, right? That's why it is dew point, right? It's bubble point here, that temperature boiling point, and this is quite same again, right? It is ready to condense also, remember. And again if you decrease the pressure, what will happen? Its boiling point again decrease. That boiling point is quite less than 75 then, right? And this what temperature we have kept, that is 75 degrees Celsius, it is quite higher than the boiling point which we have considered here, right? So that's why this is superheated vapor. So this is what we have phase diagram. And if we plot here, we have data, that is pressure, right? Then x1, then y1, and if you plot this x1 versus y1 versus x1, then you will get that equilibrium curve what I have shown in earlier cases. Then bubble point and dew point calculation with Raoult's law, again it will continue. Dew P, if you use, initially it was bubble P, now it is dew P. Already we have seen this equation, and if we apply for binary system, that will be P is equal to 1 upon y1 upon P1 saturated plus y2 upon P2 saturated. Here vapor phase composition is known, right? But liquid phase composition is not known. That's why we have to calculate that, right? So temperature again here it is constant, that is 75 degrees Celsius. So from Einstein equation you will get similar vapor pressure values, right? So those can be added here, and here now you can select the range of y1 values from 0 to, right? So here it is given, so 0 to 1, right? So that can be selected. So starting from 0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, like that. So once y1 is 0.1, so y2 will be 0.9. So that calculation you can substitute here, right? And then you can calculate P, and again you can that Raoult's law is rearranged here for first component. So x1 is equal to y1p upon p1 saturated. So these values are substituted, you will get x1 here, right? So that is again you can plot p versus x1 and p versus y1. So that is also possible. Now coming at B part of this system, right, that is bubble T. So here we have to calculate temperature and corresponding x1 and y1 values. But here pressure, here it is given as 70 kilopascal. So that is fixed, right? So then what I'll do, I will rearrange this entire equation like this, right? Okay, as Ti saturation, I is equal to 1 and 2, right? So if I rearrange this and if I put P is equal to here, this P is equal to 70 kilopascal for first Anton equation, this will give T1 saturated, and for second, and in second Anton equation, if I put P is equal to 70, that means P2 saturated is equal to 70, then I will get T2 saturated here. So this will provide T2 saturated and this will provide T1 saturated, right? Provided P1 saturated I should put as a 70, then I will get T1 saturated, and P2 saturated as 70 kilopascal, then it is T2 saturated, right? So this is simple way, simplest way you can use here. And here what you can do, it is quite simple here. So this particular equation is derived from your bubble point, bubble P calculation, right? Because we have equation P is equal to P2 saturated, right, plus P1 saturated minus P2 saturated into x1. But yeah, this we have rearranged, that this I have taken here. So P minus P2 saturated, that is P minus P2 saturated, divided by this, right? Divided by this, that is P1 minus P2 saturated. P1 minus P2 saturated is equal to x1. So this is what simple equation you have, that is x1 is equal to this value. So here what we have to do, we have to select any temperature value in between, right? For that temperature we have to calculate P1 saturated and P2 saturated from Einstein equation, right? Those values are substituted here, P1 saturated and P2 saturated, right? Because P is given here as 70 kilopascal, so I will get x1, right? Once I get this x1, I can plot T versus x1, and if I want to calculate y1, I have to use again Raoult's law, that as y1 is equal to x1 minus x1 P1 saturated on P. So this will give T versus y1. So this is again simple graph I will get here, that is T versus x1 and T versus y1. So here it is quite simple. If I start from point A, here pressure is constant like 1 atmosphere. What we are doing at atmospheric pressure, it is similar thing. So here at this particular point, here temperature is quite less. So boiling point will be here. So that's why it is this temperature is well below this. That's why it is subcooled liquid. As temperature increases, as soon as you reach here, it will start vaporizing, and that vapor will have this particular composition. This is vapor phase composition here, right? Again, if you increase here, vapor liquid mixture you will get, right? As this is liquid phase composition and this is vapor phase composition. Again, if you increase, complete vaporization is there, but it is saturated vapor ready to condense here, right? And if it is ready to condense, its composition, liquid phase composition can be calculated like this. And again, if you increase the temperature, it is superheated vapor. So this is the explanation of Tx1 and Ty1 graph. It is quite simple here. Again, if you see Henry's law, it is again a simple law which will also define x1, y1 versus x1 data. So it is very simple again. So Henry's law is YIP is equal to HI XI. So only PI saturated vapor pressure is replaced by, that is Henry's constant. Okay. So for species present as a very dilute solute in a liquid solution, the partial pressures of species in vapor phase is directly proportional to liquid phase mole fraction, and constant here it is HI, which is Henry's constant, right? So if you see this here, some Henry's constants are defined for at 25 degrees Celsius, right? Then if you see this numerical, one carbonated water contains only CO2, that is species 1, because water and CO2, these are the two species here, because carbonated water we are considering. Determine the composition of vapor and liquid phase in a sealed soda can, right? And pressure exerted in a can at 10 degrees Celsius. Henry's constant is 990 bar. So here I can CO2 is in dilute condition, remember, right? And H2O is in maximum H2O is present there. So that's why Henry's law is applicable for this particular component. So which is applied here, right? For Henry's species 1, Y1P is equal to X1 H1. But for species 2, Henry's law is not applicable, it is Raoult's law, right? Now if I add this together, these two equations, I will get P is equal to X1 H1 plus X2 P2 saturated. So this is simple equation I will get, and then here I am assuming X1 is equal to 0.01, that is only 1% CO2 in liquid phase, that is dissolved, right? So if I put this, I will get total pressure as 9.912, right? So this I am getting. Okay, once I get this total pressure as this, again I will use this equation here, which is defined here, right? So this equation I will modify, right? As you can say, X1 is equal to, right? X1 is equal to Y1P upon H1, and here also I will assume Y1 is equal to 1, that means 100% water is present, right? So this will provide me X1 is equal to 0.01. That means what we have assumed, it is justified here, right? And then you can calculate Y2 and Y1 by this equation, these two equations, right? So and if you add these together, it will be equal to, that is summation of Y is equal to 1. That is again very simple here. So again if you go further, this is really, that means now see, whatever these two equations, Henry's law and Raoult's law, these are applicable for ideal solution, not for non-ideal condition. But if you see non-ideal condition, that means here we are considering up to, you can say, modified Raoult's law. Modified Raoult's law, that means we are considering non-ideality in liquid phase, right? So here, so modified Raoult's law is nothing but your vapor phase is ideal, but liquid phase is not ideal, it is non-ideal. That's why activity coefficient is introduced, and we know activity coefficient defines the deviation from ideality, that is gamma I is equal to Fi cap upon Fi cap ID. So for ideal solution we have this, and this is for actual solution. So that is what gamma I, that's why it is added here. And if you use bubble P, for bubble P this equation is possible here, and for dew P this equation is possible. Just refer Raoult's law, what VLE calculation, that is bubble P and dew P calculation using Raoult's law. There what procedure we have followed, same we have to use here. That means what you have to do, take a summation on both sides, so you will get P is equal to this, and if you rearrange Xi is equal to remaining terms, right, and then take a summation, you will end with this final solution, right? So these 10 equations are given here. So here, right, so here you can put pressure that P1 saturated as 101.33, I will get T1 saturated, and P2 saturated as 101.33, I will get T2 saturated from untying equation by applying this particular equation. Now once I have T1 saturated and T2 saturated, I will calculate the initial guess of temperature by applying this formula. So how this formula is designed, this is X1, that is 0.85, X2 0.15, and T1 saturated from here and T2 saturated from here. So this is, you can say, initial guess. Why it is calculated? Because you should not be deviated far away from this. Are you getting this? That's why this initial temperature guess is calculated. Now once you have initial temperature guess as 336.57 Kelvin and X1 as a 0.85 and X2 as a 0.15, I can get the values of gamma 1 and gamma 2, right? So once I get gamma 1 and gamma 2, okay, I can calculate total pressure then, right? Are you getting this? Or this particular formula is used, right, and for binary system, and it is modified like this, right? This is a modification of this particular formula, okay, by applying alpha is equal to P1 saturated by P2 saturated. So gamma 1, gamma 2, then this value, then you will get P1 saturated. So by this equation, and once we have P1 saturated, you can calculate new value of temperature by using this entire equation, right? With this new value, again you can go for gamma 1, gamma 2, right? Again you can calculate P1 saturated, again you can calculate new value of temperature. So this process continues again, this process continues. So this will provide final value as this. So this is, you can say, bubble T calculation. So similarly, if you go again further, due T calculation, this is again quite critical, as this is the case of B, problem part B. But here what we have, uh, pressure is given, Y1 is given, we don't have value of X1. So here T1 saturated and T2 saturated already we have calculated in previous case. By supplying P is equal to P1 saturated, I will get T1 saturated, and if I put P is equal to P2 saturated, I will get T2 saturated, right? And then I will get initial guess of this temperature in bubble, sorry, due T calculation. It is due T calculation, right? So here what we have to do, temperature is equal to this, and here again we have to consider gamma 1 and gamma 2 as a 1, because it is not given, right? And once we have gamma 1 is equal to gamma 2 is equal to 1, and this is the initial temperature value. With this initial temperature value, I can get P1 saturated and P2 saturated, right? Then here I will modify this particular equation here. This is bubble T, right? So in this accordance, this particular formula, so this will lead to this particular equation by applying alpha is equal to P1 saturated upon P2 saturated, right? So here what we have to do, here we know the temperature values. With this temperature and with this gamma values, right, and P1 saturated and P2 saturated as alpha, alpha can be calculated for this particular temperature, right? And once we have alpha, so this is there, and all can be substituted here in this value. Y1 is given, Y2 is given, right? Gamma 1, gamma 2 as 1, alpha is calculated like this, total pressure is given as 101.33. So I will get P1 saturated. Once I get P1 saturated, then I will calculate new value of temperature from entire equation, right? Because P1 saturated, as soon as I substitute here, right, or here P1 saturated, right, I will get new value of temperature. This temperature value will be here, and with this temperature value I can calculate x1, x2, gamma 1, gamma 2, P1 saturated, P2 saturated. Again it will come back and it will continue that regression. The different steps are given here, you can check those 1 to 7, right? And so final value you will get like this. So part E, where isotropic pressure and isotropic composition we have to estimate. For temperature T is equal to, that is 318.15 Kelvin. So in this case we have seen the relative volatility. First, volatility is vapor phase composition divided by liquid phase composition of that particular component, and relative volatility is volatility of one component with respect to other. That means this is the volatility of first component, this is volatility of second component, and alpha 1 2 is the relative volatility of first component with respect to second component. That is given here, and as this is a modified Raoult's law, so this is applicable, this particular modified Raoult's law here. So alpha 1 2 is equal to, what will happen here? See, from this equation, if I apply y1 divided by x1, so y1 upon x1, that is equal to gamma 1 P1 saturated divided by P, right? So that is y1 upon x1, that is equal to gamma 1 P1 saturated divided by P. Similarly, you can say for y2 upon x2, it is gamma 2 P2 saturated divided by P. And if you substitute here, you will get these values. This, if you substitute here, that is gamma 1 P1 saturated upon gamma 2 P2 saturated. So isotrope when it is possible, when y1 is equal to x1, that is y2 is equal to x2, and in that case alpha 1 2 is equal to 1, right? So what you will do then, will apply the check, right? So how we can do this? We will calculate alpha 1 2 at x1 is equal to 0 and alpha 1 2 at x1 is equal to 1. That means we will check entire range of this composition, right? So what I'll do, when I am considering x1 is equal to 1, then P1 saturated already we have, right? P2 saturated already we have at this condition, right? Then your gamma 1, when x1 is equal to 0, that means gamma 2 is equal to 1 and gamma 1 is defined by like this, right? So from this I will get 2.052 as alpha 1 2 at x1 is equal to 0. So similarly alpha 1 2 at x1 is equal to 1 is 0.224, right? As you can say, alpha 1 2 is a continuous function of x1 from 2.05 to 0.221. That means alpha 1 2 is equal to 1 at some point, right? That will cross. That means in between we have a 1 in these two value, right? That means there is a isotrope presence, right? So then what I will do, alpha 1 2 is equal to 1, then it is modified like this, right? Because as temperature is given 318.15 Kelvin, P2 saturated and P1 saturated easily can be calculated. This equation we have modified like this, right? So you are getting this ratio as 1.4747. So then you can calculate gamma 1 and gamma 2, right? So if we have these two equations, just take a difference between these two, right? You will have this particular equation, right? And then gamma 1 upon gamma 2, if you consider there is isotrope, so I will put this particular value here, right? So if as soon as I put this value here, I will get x1, and that x1 is 0.325, and that is equal to y1, right? And once we have x1, then I can get gamma 1 isotrope from this equation, right? And gamma 2 isotrope also you can calculate. Then pressure also you can calculate, because gamma 1 isotrope, P1 is saturated, right? That is equal to pressure at isotrope. So this easily can be calculated. This is quite simple here. Because why this equation is coming? This is from modified Raoult's law, because y1 is equal to x1. This is getting cancelled from both sides, right? So this is all about, you can say, modified Raoult's law. Remember, this is very important aspects what we have discussed here. Is here modified Raoult's law, Pi saturated upon P, right? So this will provide me yi is equal to Ki Xi, right? And in case of modified Raoult's, say, calculation, there will be Xi known, right? The problem is to find the set of K values that satisfying the above equation, this equation. Alternatively, suppose Xi is equal to yi Ki, so a summation of Xi is equal to 1. So this will be dew point calculation, right? This is what we have. So this is again quite simple. And if you see this, so here one sample problem is given, okay? So here Ki, yi, that is calculated, but this is again a iterative method. So we have to go on considering different pressures, and for different pressure we have to calculate yi is already it is given, okay? But Ki that you can calculate with these different pressure values, and then yi, right? And that summation should be equal to 1. That means we have to try this at different pressure, and we can end when this summation of y upon Ki is equal to 1. So then this is okay. This is dew point calculation. But in case of bubble point calculation, by similar manner, this summation of Xi Ki should be equal to 1. Till that we have to check for different pressure, right? So this is what you can say, bubble point and dew point pressure calculation by using Ki values. Last one more point is flash calculation. Flash calculation, that means what is there, we have a feed at particular temperature but at high pressure, and it is suddenly passed through the pressure reducing valve. So in this case what happens, some of the components vapor pressure is equal to the operating pressure after reduction of this particular pressure. So that's why these components gets converted into vapor, right, and can be taken as a vapor here, and remaining components will be in liquid. But some components will distribute between vapor and liquid, so that is also possible here at equilibrium, right. So in this case we have to calculate vapor phase composition, liquid phase composition, and flow rate of vapor and liquid. So in this case here, suppose if I consider feed is equal to 1, F is equal to 1, then if I take material, total material balance, L plus V, that is vapor rate and liquid rate, is equal to feed rate, right. And this is component balance equation, that is Zi into F, because F is equal to 1, that's why this is only Zi, XIL plus YIV. Okay, so from this particular equation, L can be replaced as 1 minus V. So this equation is there. So if I modify this, I will get Yi is equal to this simple equation here, right? Provided this Xi can be presented in terms of Yi by applying K values, right? And if I take summation here, this simple equation is possible at the end. Okay. One simple problem already discussed here, right? The system of acetone, acetonitrile and nitromethane at 80 degrees Celsius and 110 kilopascal has overall composition Z1 as 0.45, Z2 as 0.35, Z3 as 0.20. Assuming Raoult's law is appropriate to the system, determine liquid flow rate, vapor flow rate, vapor phase composition, liquid phase composition, right? And vapor pressures are given here, P1, P2, P2, P3 saturated, right? So we have to see, is there any formation of that means two-phase system, right? So for that, first you do the bubble P calculation by assuming Zi is equal to Xi. So it will give pressure as 132.40 kilopascal, and then do the due P calculation by assuming Zi is equal to Yi. Then you will get pressure as 101.52. That means your pressure, what is given, system pressure 110, is lies between these two, right? When it lies between these two, this is a two-phase region, right? Then you can calculate Ki values, different Ki values, right? Because P1 saturated by P is already given 110, and Pi saturated is 195.75 divided by P, so that will give K1. Similarly, this 97.84 divided by 110 is giving K2, and then 50.32 divided by 110 is giving K3, right? If you add these values in this particular equation here, so this will be the equation here for three component, right? Composition is given, K values are given, right? Okay, all are replaced here. So by trial and error method, we have to calculate only unknown is present as a V, right? So that V by trial and error method, it is getting as 0.73, 0.64. So 1 minus V is L, that is calculated here. And once we have V, I can calculate Yi values, different Yi values by using this equation. Only thing is I is equal to 1, 2, 3, you can keep here, and corresponding values you can substitute, you will get this Yi, Y1, Y2, Y3, then K1, K2, K3, already it is given there, and with this we can calculate X1, X2, X3 here. That is quite simple, that is for flash calculation. Okay, so this is all about, you can say, vapor liquid equilibrium. So we have studied here modified Raoult's law, Henry's law, K value concept, and flash calculation. These are the different cases, those are used for the calculation of vapor liquid equilibrium. And remember, these that VLE data, this VLE data is very much important in the case of you can say deciding the process design of mass transfer equipment such as distillation, absorption, right? So this is for vapor liquid contacting, what it is present in such processes, right? So I think maybe I think you have cleared this particular point for vapor liquid equilibrium and bubble P and DUP calculations. and duty as well as probability calculations, right? So thank you. So we'll see remaining part of phase equilibria in next lecture. Thank you here.